It's Defense Up on Run 7. How you doing? Okay, today I want to talk a little bit about room placement. When I do these Defense Up videos, I usually do them generically. I don't take into account when you have Defense Up or Defense Down being applied to characters in the room. And that's a kind of an important thing. It makes your Kestrel teams on defense that much more important if there's defense down on the opponent in that room, right? Because then every attack, Kestrel's pinging. So there's all kinds of stuff you want to watch out for. And I probably need to make an entirely separate video on which teams benefit from which bonuses for those alliance leaders. But honestly, that's a deep dive into some of that stuff. But I just wanted to point out that I do recognize that sometimes your guys' teams might get a little bit better or a little bit worse grade depending on where they are in the helicarrier. And but I do have to kind of generalize these so that more people can just see the basics of what to do with their builds. But always keep in mind what room you're in and what room you're adjacent to and what kind of bonuses you're getting, you know? Because, you know, if Moon Knight is getting the deflect, which turns into speed up or something, and you're happening to use him on some sort of a hybrid defense, which is a crazy thing to do, but whatever, you know, that makes an effect, you know? So is your team way down in the bottom of the helicarrier and that deflect room is way up in the top? I can't remember. We just changed rooms. So that might make a difference. And then your Moon Knight plays out differently, two different ways it's attacked. These are kind of things that you want to think about when you look at your defenses. You know, the Kestrel thing, obviously, with the defense down. Those are important little things that you want to think about when you're placing your defenses. Maybe some of you don't want to spend that much time thinking about your defense. I think about this stuff. I love, you know, theory crafting with defenses and things. But I just wanted to raise that up. Room placement is important, and it does have an effect. Here at Defense Up, we try and generalize so that everybody can come in and just take a look and see what works in a general feel and what doesn't, and how you should have stuff built. But today we're going over Deucalion, who does not spell his name like you think it would be. He sent me his picks. He's an alliance mate of mine, a friend of mine too, and a friend of the stream. If you want to come hang out and say hi to him, just pop in the stream Tuesdays and Thursdays, and he's here a lot. So team number 1, we grade on 5 different things. It's who you're using, the placement, their power levels, their ISOs, and what kind of mood I'm in. I almost was wondering if I counted that right, but I did. I counted on my fingers, so I got it right. Okay, team number 1 is a Kree minion team with Ronin. This is an absolute filler team. He built this up just to get Fury unlocked. That's, you know, this is as high as you ever build this team just to do Fury. And he's throwing it in as a filler. It's not worth making war ready. It's not worth really worrying about the ISOs. This is a fill it and forget about team that is just taking up a slot. In a previous video, we talked about how a lot of times we throw in junk and it just doesn't matter because you don't have a wide enough roster to get your 10, 12, 14 offensive war teams. And so you throw in junk like this because it's better than shield guards, you know? Okay, so we've got, I like this person as a striker instead of a skirmisher. She calls an assist, and then if you get lucky and it happens to be, well, she calls an assist to the adjacent person who is a skirmisher. So then that would place a vulnerable, and then she'd get a double tap. But again, don't bother switching it. Not worth changing the ISOs. You went over 1, and this minion team is garbage, so it's not worth changing it. Skirmisher's a good secondary pick for her anyway. Also, remember who she is adjacent to. This is a good person. The Reaper is a good person to be adjacent. I can barely remember these guys' names. They're so old. Okay. Ronin in here. He's a good 5th pick for this team. He has synergy. Where the hell else are you going to use him? He has no other hybrid options. He's so old. He's just as trash as the rest of this team. Raider is good. Yeah, healer and then fortifier over here. Sure, is what it is. I think you're doing absolutely fine. Technically, you could change this ISO to a striker and maybe get some more benefit out of it. It is not going to change a thing. Technically, you could make them war ready to get some more benefit out of it. That isn't worth doing. This is an A- for me. Just on, you invested in the wrong ISO here. Don't waste your resources changing it. Good enough. On to team number 2. Doc Ock Sinister 6 is an automatic F. We go over this all the time. You're wasting your Doc Ock by putting him on this team. This team gets eaten alive, just like the Asgardians gets eaten alive now because of Hela. She's a liability. She just ruins the team. You're better off breaking it up and using the pieces elsewhere. Same thing with this. You should go OG Sinister 6, take Doc Ock off of this team, put him on a hybrid offense or a hybrid defense, or if you like this team, you can build the whole team up and use them on offense. They're a great offensive team. They're still powerful and still very good at what they do. However, on defense, they just fold like a lawn chair, so don't do it. Let's see. Raider on her. Okay. Striker on him. Okay. Fortifier on him. Doesn't need to be. Should have gone Raider on him. Striker on Mysterio. That's correct. And Healer on Doc Ock is correct. I think you should put more skirmishers on the team to go with your Mysterio. He calls assists and he can get the double tap coming back in and clearing positive effects with his basic. Otherwise, yeah, not a big deal. You were already getting an F, and this team is such a waste. But the biggest thing you can do, get Doc Ock off of here. You invested in him, use him, make another war team. You didn't have enough teams. You had to use this garbage. You could go OG Sinister 6 here, and then some sort of weird hybrid with Doc Ock here. You'd be doing a lot better. Okay, team number 3, the Mercs. All right, we got Skirmisher, Healer, Skirmisher, Striker, Skirmisher. That's weird. Okay, we got the ISOs wrong again. All right, so... Taskmaster as a skirmisher is correct. Healer on this guy is okay. If you run the Shuri build, make him a striker. Then we got this Merc, which is a weird Merc to be putting in on this team because that's not Merc Riot Guard, is it? That's the Skill Mill Merc, isn't it? Merc Soldier, I believe. Okay. So he should be a skirmisher on his team, but you want Merc Riot Guard in here. You're missing out by not putting Merc Riot Guard in here. Merc Riot Guard puts a deflects on adjacent characters, and then you've got Korath the Pursuer in here, who's fantastic. He's a striker. That's good. It's a good fit for this team. He's fast out of the gates. He draws that assist from Taskmaster and then gets the triple tap because Taskmaster is placing the vulnerable. If you don't know, Taskmaster is a skirmisher. Everybody else, all the other Mercs as strikers, you get triple hit combos off of almost everybody. Yes, Merc Riot Guard only attacks less than every other turn, and that's unfortunate. Merc Lieutenant attacks every other turn, and that's unfortunate. But if you haven't invested Taskmaster, I always try and call him skirmisher. If you haven't invested Taskmaster, it's still worth it to do the striker skirmisher combo with as many of these mercs as you can. Killmonger should be a Raider is his native ISO on his original team, the team that we don't name anymore, that Alpha Raid team that we don't talk about. However, he's on this team, he's a Merc, and he needs to be a striker also. I don't think he should ever be a skirmisher. So, change that ISO, change this tune, the placement is fine, make him war ready. I'm gonna give you a C for this team. We can do a lot better. It's old, it's totally beatable, lots of things smash this. Now with Magic on that X-Men Uncanny team, they just punch way up on the Mercs and stuff, although I'm saving mine for Black Order, but yeah, there's lots of stuff that beats this team, so it's nothing to get too excited about it. That's one of them, you know, investors beware, don't overdo it. All right, team number 4. Here we got a Hydra Zemo defense. This is pretty good. You put in Winter Soldier because we're forced to invest in Winter Soldier for that unlock, and that's very unfortunate. I think you're better off putting in another minion in here and going for 75% damage reduction on Red Skull. I think even though we have to build up Winter Soldier, doesn't mean we have to use him. So Zemo in here makes this team amazing, but Zemo's got a lot of potential elsewhere. I like him on this defense. I like this defense other than Winter Soldier. I think that's still a waste. He's got an ability block for some RNG, but it almost never lands. So, I mean, if you were to go level 5 skirmisher on him, maybe then you'd land that ability block every time. It might be worth it, but I think you're better off going with a minion. Even if you have a minion that's at like 40k, it's going to be better because it's that 25% damage reduction to Red Skull. So, one thing you can do with your Hydra defense is make them all fortifiers except for Zemo. Zemo should be either a Raider or a Skirmisher. I prefer Skirmisher. Skirmisher level 5, make sure that his ability block lands. We're using him in the arena a lot right now, and Skirmisher's the way to go. You already have him invested in as a Raider. That's okay. Let's see, especially on this defense, it's probably a good pick for this defense just to get that extra damage and stuff in there. Let's see, this is Grenadier, not Rifle Trooper. He is a striker, that's correct. He has good synergy with Zemo, so that's kind of a good fit. And then you have Hydra Sniper as a fortifier. I like him better as a striker or a skirmisher myself. But fortifier is like if you make all the minions fortifiers and they die and revive, and they come back with that barrier each time, makes them pretty frustrating to get through. Oh, I just hate seeing that Winter Soldier there. I hate seeing Winter Soldier in general. I'm really upset that Scopely's making us build him. They promised us that they wouldn't give us trash tunes as unlocks, and he is absolutely a trash tune. So it's very unfortunate. Just because you have to build him doesn't mean you have to use him, though. Get him off there, get a minion in. Otherwise, I think you're doing everything else fine. So I'm going to give you a B for that. Swap him out of there, and let's see what we can do. Honestly, because he's 100k, you're raising this number up, which makes them overestimate the team. and a small Merc would probably make them underestimate the team with a smaller, or not a Merc, a small Hydra minion would make them underestimate the team with this smaller number in here. It might actually benefit you to kind of psych your opponent out that way. Something to think about. Team number 5, AIM, or AIM-Tron, I should say, with Ultron in here. Ultron on this AIM team is pretty good. I like the minions all in the center. Well, you only got 2 minions, so they are in the center, I guess. Graviton's getting the adjacent benefits, the healing and the speed up from both of these. She's getting speed up, so he's getting healing. This is a great placement on this. I really like the placement here. Yeah, this team's pretty good. She's gonna be cleansing stuff. I think you should go ahead and make the whole team war ready. You have a high enough investment. It would be worth it to just go ahead and bump them up. You probably don't need Fortifier on your shield security, but it's an okay pick. I kind of like Healer on... Gosh, did I say shield security? Oh my god, I'm so terrible. I've been messing these names up like crazy. Your AIM security does adjacent healing, so Healer on this character has some effect. Skirmisher over here is a good pick. It's a single target character who fires quite often. You'll get lots of vulnerables on the field. And then Graviton and Zemo. Man, I'm all over the words today. And Ultron as strikers is good. Healer on Scientist. Supreme is good. Yeah, this is okay. So I think you could tweak this one ISO before you invest it up to war ready levels. I think you should make the rest of the team war ready. And yeah, you could consider this team for offense too. This is a great offense team. It still does some things. It's my 15th offensive team on my list, you know, but I do bring it out and use it once in a while. You know, it'll punch up 200k on an OG Sinister 6 at this level with Ultron in there. Oh yeah, it'll blow that OG Sinister 6 team right out of the water. Might even take out the Doc Ock Sinister 6 team. You never know. Okay, yeah, it's all right. I'm gonna give you a B+ for this team. I want to see that ISO changed. I want to see you make him war ready. This isn't an effective team. It is a filler team. It's nothing to get excited about, but we can do a little bit better. Team number 6 here is a Guardians team with Minerva. I think we should take Drax off of this team and then focus on that Striker Skirmisher combo because you already have their ISO set up for the Striker Skirmisher quadruple hit combo that those 3 do. And if you get Drax out of there, that happens more often. Sometimes they'll accidentally call Drax in and you won't get the combo the way you want it. Alternatively, you could make Drax a Skirmisher and still be getting the triple hit combo. Just wouldn't really be the quadruple hit combo that you want. But Drax, at this power level compared to the rest of them, he's probably best as a fortifier, making him a little bit tougher to get through. Although with Minerva on the team, she's going to revive him when he dies. So you're only level 1. Yeah, let's make him a skirmisher. Then you can leave him on the team. You'll still get some good value out of that. Placement's fine. Team's fine. I mean, you probably overinvested in these, but you're an older player and you did what you did when you had to do it. For newer players, don't invest in almost any of these. Minerva still has some value, but she's really fallen off too. Yeah, I wouldn't invest in any of these players at this point anytime soon. I'm making mine war ready, but man, it hurt doing that. It hurt making mine war ready, so I don't know if you should. 506, you're on the fence, so that's really up to you. Yeah, it's okay. I think change that one ISO. Gonna give you an A- for this filler team. Team number 7. Here's a shield team. Okay, this is something I don't see very often. We got Fury in there, calling in minions for giving symbiotes speed up to attack into it. Black Widow's speeding up the team, hopefully getting Fury to his special to speed up the team a little bit faster. You got shield security in there, hopefully drawing a taunt so that makes it tougher for your speed up teams to actually use those minions. And then of course, Captain America with another taunt. So it's not terrible. It's not terrible. I would actually be a little hesitant to come right in with my symbiotes. The only thing is that your Hawkeye is pretty squishy. You got 7 red stars on him. You might consider taking him to gear tier 12 and then making him a fortifier on this build. Maybe with those kind of red stars to really boost his that barrier, maybe would defend against some of the teams that I would come into this with. But also you could make him a raider. We were talking about it in the previous video. Making Black Widow a skirmisher and then him a striker is the traditional kind of setup because they call assists. But if you don't want to put the T4s, making them call assist 100% of the time, it's probably better to make him a raider. He has a little bit of crit built into his kit. He does a lot of AoEs. And the discussion today is Raider worth, is it worth changing your Kestrel? Is it worth changing your Surfer? Is it worth changing your Icarus to a Raider? And there are people who are saying yes. So, and they're smarter people than me saying yes. So that's a discussion. But anyway, I think maybe try out Raider. See what you think. See if it works. Raider on Fury is an absolute must. He has crit built into his kit. He uses it well. Fortifier on your shield guard is not necessary. He's pretty tough. You could put something like Skirmisher in there so that along with the slows and stuns, you're getting vulnerables. Captain America as a healer, that's the way to go. And then her as a striker is a secondary pick. I like her better as a skirmisher. She gets called for assists on 2 different teams, so skirmisher's probably the best way to go there. However, all in all, it's not bad. I think you're kind of using some leftover stuff. I mean, you have an overdeveloped shield guard right there, and so you're getting some value out of him. I think you overinvested for sure on both his ISO and his gear, but what's done is done. I don't know if it's worth it bringing up the rest of the members. I think it is worth it to take him to gear tier 12 and maybe flesh out one of those ISO choices. And then make Cap war ready. He's so close. Hell, make her war ready. Don't bother changing to a skirmisher. Make them all war ready. Just don't bother changing them. Just make them war ready. They're so close. And those ISOs are pretty good secondary picks. I'm going to go B- on this. I'm not super excited about it, but I don't feel really bad looking at it. All right, team number 8 is a Heroes for Hire. We got Striker, Healer, Fortifier, Skirmisher, Raider. I don't like your placement. I think this should be a Skirmisher on Iron Fist. I think you should probably, well, I like this team at 400k and stop for me. 400k for the team and stop pretty much requires an Infinity Watch or a Weapon X team or some sort of big Eternals hybrid to come into it and beat it. So let's move Luke Cage to the outside. Probably just swapping places with Colleen Wing and Luke Cage is going to be good enough. If you want to, you could change this to a skirmisher for the vulnerable. The healer doesn't have a lot of effect because most of the time this team is now being countered by teams that put not vulnerable. Well, they do vulnerable too. That put heal block on them, or these guys just die and revive, and so the rejuves don't actually take effect. So the healer doesn't get much value. You're better off with Skirmisher putting that extra vulnerable on the field for characters like Misty Knight and Colleen Wing to work off of. So yeah, let's do a placement swap. You know, if you wanted to take these last 2 up into the blue ISO, sure, why not? You've got a pretty big number there. It's either like you either want to go like 400k or take them to 1 million, you know? Like, why not? Yeah, I definitely, the biggest thing for me though is get Luke Cage off to the side. That's for the Weapon X team. When you go into that team, it's really frustrating when it's Lady Deathstrike's turn and you want to rewind turn meter on 3 characters, but you only get 2 because Luke Cage is taunting off on the side. So definitely put him off to the side. Otherwise, yeah, doing pretty good. I'm going to give you a B for that team. Let's get a placement swap. You don't have to change this ISO. It's expensive, I know. You're already up in the numbers that this team is doing what it needs to do. Okay, team number 9, here's a Hero Brawler build. And what I'm telling to everybody is short term, you should probably be putting in OG Spider-Man and Ghost Spider in here in place of Chavez and Squirrel Girl, depending on how much you want to invest in your Web Warriors. You know, I think it's a good place for a temporary defense. They're new, people don't know how they work. You can run them as strikers. Maybe not Gwen, she should be a raider, but you can run OG Spider-Man as a striker and he fits right in here and it just makes for a great Hero Brawler build. There's a lot of the synergy that Ghost Spider adds to the rest of the team, not being a hero brawler, you know, being a controller, not a hero brawler, is still sufficient that it's a good fit. And usually you're replacing Squirrel Girl, who's not attacking every single turn anyway. So she isn't like an awesome fit for the hero brawler mechanic. So that's why I say, you know, replace those 2 would be a good fit. However, you know, you probably have a ways to go on your OG Spider-Man and your Gwen to get them up to these power levels. So, you know, you might end up having a whole Web Warrior team by the time they're ready to be replaced. It's a short-term thing to do. Otherwise, what you're doing here is exactly right. Alternatively, you can make Squirrel Girl a healer because she does some healing and she has one of those attacks where she's not actually attacking. It's kind of the same thing on those Mercs with like Merc Lieutenant, who he's healing and not attacking, and you don't get the benefit out of that Striker Skirmisher combo. This is a fun team to play on offense. I kind of enjoy it. It doesn't beat anything. It is a kind of a trash team. Don't build this team for no reason at all. But Duke obviously had this going early on in the game, and he's just rolling with it. 7 red stars on America Chavez. Yeah, you might not want to replace her. You might be getting a hell of a punch out of her. So, yeah, not much you can do here to improve it. Maybe take Miss Marvel and put her off to the side because she's taunting, you know, so you want her off to the side. She doesn't do anything adjacent. There's no reason to have her adjacent to anybody specific. So yeah, I think, so I'll give you an A-. Just do a placement change or swap out some characters to see if you can get a more of a hybrid new defense in there. Team number 10 is an Emmarauders, a very, very traditional Emmarauders. Let's see, we have Strife as a fortifier. I like it. Let's see, we got Raider on Sabretooth. Pretty good if you're not building that Weapon X team. He's great on here. And then you got Skirmisher on Mystique. You probably overinvested on Mystique. If you're building this team, you only need to take Mystique to gear tier level 12. She goes invisible and has lots of evades. She doesn't get hit very often. She's usually one of the last people to die. All she needs to do is clear and copy those effects, give them to Sinister, and let Sinister spread it to the rest of the team. However, you're doing fine. You could take her to a level 5 Skirmisher if you want that focus boost. It's not really necessary. She's not a great toon. I hate to tell people to do that, but that's the best thing to do if you want to wail out on her or something. And then Sinister as a healer is perfect, and then you got Emma there. Now, I used to say swap Sabretooth and Emma because Emma can take the splash damage more than Sabretooth can, coming off of that Strife who's taunting. But Sabretooth, after his rework, he's tough as nails, man. So you could swap places. I'm not even going to dock you for that placement change anymore. Great ISOs. It's a good team. It's a filler team. It's an old team. Everybody knows how to beat this. It's got a decent number. But what else are you going to do with this team other than completely break it up and go with some crazy hybrids and stuff? And I mean, yeah, you've got some small teams on your defense here, so maybe you should break this up and make 2 different teams out of it. But whatever. I mean, you could use Emma on an Eternals offense or something like that, or an Eternals defense if you want to. Something like that. I don't know. But for what you're doing, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the A for this. It's a pretty good build. You might just make her war ready, but it's almost not worth investing in. So, okay. If you want your team featured on Defense Up, I have room in the list. I'm getting pretty low these days, actually. I kind of got my act together and got caught up. So contact me in Discord, links in the description. What else do I want to talk about? Oh, if you're having trouble recruiting these days, we have a new recruitment channel in my Discord. You can go post your stuff if you're looking for players or if you're looking for an alliance, either one. It's just an a fit-all thing. You can put your stats in there, whatever. So come by my Discord, check it out. At me, message me your picks if you want your defense featured. You can always come find me on Twitch Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 to noon on the West Coast. Remember, guys, don't just have a good game. Be good to yourselves and others too, and I'll catch you next time. Bye.